So our products actually come in sort of at the sweet spot. So what we do is we have a compiler called Elements that lets you use C#, Swift, Java, or our own language called Oxygen. So you can pick any of those languages, and you can use those on all the platforms. So what this allows you to do is you still create separate apps for each platform, but you can reuse a lot of the basic boilerplate code under the hood. So this way, like everything that isn't specific to the platform or to the user interface, things like your business logic or communicating with your server, doing calculations, things like that, you can really easily share across the different platforms. And you just sort of put different fronts on your app for the different platforms that are specific. So one of the benefits, obviously, of being able to share some code is that you don't have to redevelop all the business logic twice, right? Like, so if you're, again, let's stick with the example, iOS versus Android. If you're building an app in Swift and an app in Java for iOS and Android specifically, you're literally writing everything twice, right? And you have to test everything twice. If something changes in your business logic, you're adding a new module, any of those things, you got to do all the work twice, and that multiplies if you're also doing a desktop version or a web version or things like that. And with a tool such as ours, you can basically use Swift for all the platforms, or use C# for all the platforms, or Java. You can write all that business code that's likely to change or that needs to be maintained in one language, and you can compile that natively for iOS and natively for Android and natively for Windows or whatever other platforms you're going to be targeting. And when there are changes, you only make those changes once. And you got to put a little bit of sort of thought into it to start with. But if you do the abstraction properly between this is completely shared down here and these are like the separate UI layers for different platforms and how you connect those two, a lot of that can be shared too. So adding a new, say you've got an application with like 5 different views, and adding a new view, you would just have to like add the business logic for the new ones and like do minor changes in the UI for each of the platforms. But if you do the abstraction at the right point, you're not doing all the work twice. Right? And again, it sort of needs a little bit of sort of planning ahead on how you want to structure it, but it gives a lot of benefit in the end because you're already sitting in the sweet spot of having native apps on all the platforms without the cost of really duplicating or quadrupling all your code. And another benefit, of course, is that if you're using the same language and the same sort of tool and IDE for all the platforms, that also means you can focus your team on learning one language and being fluent in one language, right? I mean, obviously, it's great if you can just go out and hire 10 Android developers and 10 iOS developers, and they don't have to talk to each other, and all those teams are proficient on their own. That's great, if you have the resources for that. But if you don't, or if you need more tight integration with the team, it's a lot easier if the team like literally speaks the same language, right?